Death Star Trench Run. This is LEGO Star Wars set 75329. It consists of 665 pieces and was released in April 2022 for about 70 euros. At the time of recording this video, it's no problem to find the set in used condition for about 30 euros. So far, I showed you two other sets of the Star Wars Diorama series and also a MOCS. The set here is the only set of the first wave of Diorama sets which I haven't shown you so far. It depicts a scene from the first Star Wars movie where Luke Skywalker in his X-Wing attacks the first Death Star and is chased by Darth Vader and two TIE fighter pilots. On the back side of the box we get to know the dimensions of the completed build. It's 10 centimeters by 22 centimeters. Strangely, we don't get to know any information about a third dimension. As you can see, my set comes in used condition, so the bricks don't come in their original numbered bags. Normally there are, let me have a look, 6 different building sections. So there are 6 numbered bags, or better said, bags with 6 numbers on them. But yeah, for me the building sections don't matter because, as you can see, all the bricks come on the same bag, so I will have to search for all the bricks at each step. Like always with those diorama sets, the instructions come with some introductional texts about the movie and the set itself. Then we get to know the number of building sections, and after that everything starts with step 1. I'm going to start now with step 1, and then I will come back to you as soon as I see something interesting. Step 9. Building section 1 is complete. You can see we have built the base and attached these 2 printed tiles here. Now it's time for the second building section. Step 13. As always in recent years, LEGO somewhere hides pink and other colorful bricks in their grey Star Wars sets. It's very strange, but as long as we can't see them in the completed build, I don't really care. Step 15. Let's talk about the bricks for a second. As always, the bricks work totally fine, there's no problem with the clutch power, and the material is great. Concerning these things, LEGO's quality is always amazing. But what I don't like so much is that in recent years the injection points get bigger and bigger and more visible. For example, I've got here a piece of LEGO from, I think, the late 90s. It's not like here dark bluish gray, it's old gray. But you can see here that there always had been injection points, of course. But these points here are smaller and there isn't such a big color difference. They are simply less visible. Here in the light, it seems to be more visible than it actually is. But have a look at these points here. They are way bigger, and this color difference is really harsh. There's a white point in this gray plate. It's so visible, and you can't always hide all the stats with plates. It's just annoying. I really wish we could go back to this quality. Step 21. I really like the building technique used in the step here. So we have built this little segment here. It looks like a little guy with his head and his hat. And here you got two arms. And yeah, well, we have to place this segment here like this. And now you can see that these little thing which we used here, I don't know how it is called. It looks like this. It's often used for flowers when it is in green. And yeah, the angle this thing produces just aligns perfectly with this slope here. Step 22. In this step we are going to use a piece that I haven't seen before. It's a 1x1 round plate to which these binoculars are added. I know 1x1 round plates and I know these binocular pieces, but I have never seen those two pieces combined in one piece. It's in use since 2019, and I actually owned a set where this piece was used, the Yavin 4 Rebel base, but I only bought that set for the minifigures, and I removed the minifigures from the set and later sold the set again, so I haven't built it. But now I got a second set with this kind of piece. Step 25. Here is another piece that I haven't seen before. It's a Technic driving ring extension and is in use since 2018. It appeared in 49 sets so far. I actually own 2 of those sets, or besides this set here, 2 of those sets. Both are Star Wars helmets, but I haven't assembled those sets so far, so I didn't stumble upon this piece until today. With step 29, we have completed the second building section, in which we have placed a lot of details which can be seen on the Star Destroyer's surface. And that's also what we are continuing to do in the third building section. Step 36. In this step we are placing a 1x1 round plate with open stud on this tab here. And I actually didn't know that this is a legal building technique. Or isn't it? I don't know. Step 39. Here is another interesting building technique I wouldn't have guessed to be legal. We stick this round pin here in this cross-shaped hole. Crazy. Step 70. We have added more greebling to the floor, and I think now this part of the build is more or less complete. We can continue now with building section 4, where we start to build that wall of the trench which is visible in our diorama. Step 93. We just have completed the fourth building section. Nothing spectacular has happened in this section. We only created a lot of greebling. Greebling might not be spectacular, but it's very important for the looks of the completed build. And I wouldn't be able to design greebling myself. I'm always quite in awe when I see something like that. because I wouldn't have any idea how to do this. I can't come up with ideas for such details. It really looks amazing when you have a look at it on the completed build. Step 111. Other companies use single studs or plates with studs on both sides to reverse the building direction. There aren't really such pieces in the LEGO universe, so reversing the building direction when only using LEGO pieces is a bit more difficult. We got here this 1x1 round brick and next to it a 1x1 round plate. Those two pieces are not interlocked with each other. They are simply aligned perfectly and held in place by these clips here. But when we touch the whole thing, it really easily happens that they are not aligned any longer. Step 113. The pieces about which we talked before with the reversed building direction are additionally kept in place by these gold bars here. So you can see when we push here, they can't move in this direction. They can only move upwards, and yeah, that's quite unlikely that you will touch it from that direction. Step 114. We have completed the wall. Due to the bigger amount of plates used for this segment here, the whole thing is a bit wobbly. But I think once we have connected with the rest of our build, it will be perfectly plain. So you can see that there are only 2 points where we can interlock it. One over here and the other over there. And now, to give the whole construction a bit more strength, we use these Technic axles here. So here are these holes, and behind the holes there are bricks with cross-shaped holes. And this means that with these longer axles, everything should be held in place perfectly. I think I will have to use 2 hands for this. With 2 hands, connecting these pieces was no problem at all. Alright, we have now completed this terrain where we are going to place now our fighters in the next building section, the final building section, section 6. Step 134. So far we have built 2 fighters, a TIE fighter and a TIE Advanced. For the second TIE fighter we need 2 2x2 round plates in black. But I could only find one. The other one is dark bluish gray. This means I probably have placed somewhere a black round plate instead of a dark bluish gray one. And yeah, I was going through all the steps until I found the dark bluish gray plate in step 107. Let's see if this there. Yep, there is the black plate. I'm really not a fan of how LEGO shows black and dark bluish gray in their instructions. It happens quite often that I place the pieces in the wrong color. Step 148. The build is complete. And have a look at it. I think it really looks great. That's a cute little diorama. The surface of the Death Star just looks amazing with all its scribbling, all its details. I especially like the turbo laser here. It just looks like in the movie. It's amazing that you can do something like that in this small scale. And of course, the jets or the fighters are really cool. So we got an X-Wing and 3 TIE fighters. It's cool that they use these diamonds here, or whatever these things here are, these jewels, for the X-Wing's engine. And have a look here, we got a tiny R2-D2. It's a printed 1x1 round tile. That's a great idea. The only thing I don't like so much is how the X-Wing looks like from the front view. So behind the cockpit it looks quite blocky, but other than that the shape is perfect. And then we got the three TIE fighters here. 2 normal TIE fighters and Darth Vader's advanced TIE fighter. Those TIE fighters also got printed 1x1 tiles. Those are the cockpits. This is really cool. And I think the shape of those fighters in general really is well done. Those 2 here are shooting at the X-Wing. So cool. Oops. Yeah, this thing here is a tiny bit unsturdy. You can see the X-Wing only sits on one stat, and I'm not quite sure, you can't really see in the instructions if you have to place this stat here in one of the negative stats or this little stat-like thing here. I centered it, but maybe I should use one of the negative stats. I think this will give the whole thing a bit more grip. Yeah, now it sits way safer on this bar. The other, or at least this one here, is directly connected to the bar with the bar's negative stat. And these 2 here, I think the bar sits in a brick modified, yeah. This thing really looks cool. And also the base is very important for such a build. Like it's the case with the other dioramas, you really need that base to give the diorama a black border or a border at all, and it's a black border. I think this even helps with the contrast of the whole build. And it's also oh, come on, it also shows 2 printed tiles, one with the Lego Star Wars logo and the other shows a Darth Vader quote. Come on, camera, focus. I think the black might be problematic for the camera. Yeah, that's better. The force is strong with this one. The whole thing fits exactly to the other diorama sets. It's the same dimensions. It has the same depth. I had much fun building this thing, and I think the result really looks cool. The only thing I didn't like so much is that in the instructions, like it is always the case with LEGO instructions, it's sometimes very difficult to not mistake black pieces for dark bluish gray pieces or the other way around. When there are shown black pieces and dark bluish gray pieces at the same time, it's no problem. But when there's only shown one color, sometimes you can't really be sure which color you have to use now, and yeah, maybe they could mark those bricks with, I don't know, with some letters, DBG or something like that, just to let you know which color they want you to use there. If you want to have the set too, I would not recommend to pay the retail price. That's a bit expensive for the set because we used a lot of tiny pieces, and yeah, 70 euros for only those small pieces is a bit too much. But when you can find it in used condition for a good price, go for it.